Hello and welcome to the All Things Leeds podcast, or the ATL podcast. It's episode 7. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and listening and downloading. Hope you're all well. If you haven't heard me before, I am Ed, founder and creator of All Things Leeds. And as always, I am joined by Charles Foster. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing alright, mate. Apart from all the Leeds stuff, but we'll get onto that.
So, a good week apart from all the Leeds stuff?
Yeah, it's been alright.
Yeah, fine on this early start today.
I'm tired, but...
Well, we'll crack on. It's been a disappointing past week for Leeds United. I think it's fair to say. Losing out on the signing of Dan James from Swansea and then losing 3-1 at home to promotion rivals Norwich, dropping to second in the table. We'll be going over all that. And it's also been a better week, though, for the Leeds United 23s. They drew 2-2 away at Birmingham on Saturday. Izzy Brown getting on the score sheet again with a last-minute equaliser. Is it time for him to be involved in first team? We'll be discussing that. And then to finish off, as always, we'll be previewing Leeds United's next game where they take on Middlesbrough at the Riverside on Saturday at lunchtime. All this is coming up. Well, a lot of depressing stuff to talk about, really, in this podcast, and it may only be a very, very short one, so we'll apologise in advance if it's not going to be an hour long. But we'll go in chronological order, shall we? And start with the absolute shambles that happened on transfer deadline day last Thursday. So Leeds United, of course, linked with 21-year-old Welsh winger Daniel James, who currently plays at Swansea City and does still play for Swansea City. Negotiations throughout the month went right until the last day. I mean, probably Leeds United's fault there, leaving it till the last day.
You say that, but these things don't just happen in over 24 hours. I can't imagine Rajazani phoned Swansea on the 30th of January and just went, "Can we have Dan James?" It'll have been going on for a couple of weeks, trying to get it over the line, but Swansea didn't want to lose him in the first place, and as it went on, they were increasingly desperate to keep him. The more the interest kind of went up from Leeds' end. The reason it fell through, I reckon, is the former chairman, who's since resigned. He resigned 48 hours after the transfer window shut, Hugh Jenkins. He didn't want to lose the... because they were losing Montero, weren't they? They were losing Leroy Fer, they were losing Daniel James. And the players weren't happy about it. One of the Swansea players tweeted that he wasn't happy about it and then deleted it immediately, so you can tell they were fuming about it. Yeah, so he didn't want to lose the players, but the Swansea owners, I think, wanted to sell the players because they've got a bad owner situation over there, and we know all about bad owner situations.
Yeah.
But theirs is kind of like in between. Like if ours was bad and Blackpool's is horrendous, theirs is kind of not as bad as either of them, but still fairly bad because they've got like American owners that never invest in they pile a lot of their debt into the club. So their plan was to sell the players off and kind of basically just pump all the money back into their own pockets rather than the club. Yeah. And the chairman's basically gone, I'm vetoing this. We're not selling them. And has since resigned for mysteriously unknown reasons. Yeah. Someone will have phoned him and gone, right, you've wrecked this transfer window. You're sacked. Yeah,
that really annoyed me, seeing that news of Hugh Jenkins, their chairman, resigning, because he's just done all this. The Leroy Fer transfer that they were going to do, he was going to go to Aston Villa. That fell through as well at the last minute. We'll go on to how it all fell through. But yeah, he's done all this, just messed up all these transfers, and then just gone, oh, I've had enough. I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he'd have resigned a few days earlier.
yeah, definitely. I mean, do you not feel as though Leeds United could have maybe tried to get a deal agreed a lot earlier in January, or maybe highlighted other targets in case that one fell through?
I think it possibly slightly naive on Rajazani's side not to recognise the kind of club, the kind of way that Swansea run, because they are run badly as a club, and that's not me being bitter or anything like that. They are run badly as a club. The Swansea supporters would acknowledge that. So yeah, you don't think of that as much as a factor in transfers, but it is a massive factor. If you're buying a player of a trustworthy owner of a good club, you're never worried, are you? Whereas if you're buying a player off a temperamental owner from a dodgy club with strange finances, then things can go wrong which you don't expect. So I think it's probably a lack of awareness by Rajazani about Swansea's ownership problems.
I guess also Rajazani's hands are tied really with Bielsa as the manager, because he highlights players that he wants, and those are the only players that he wants. And if he don't want anyone else, he's not going to say, just bring someone in for the sake of it.
From what I understand, Victor Orta kind of brings in kind of a list of 10 players based on what he asks for, and then Bielsa chooses from that list. I'm not sure Bielsa as much goes out, sends his scouts out. He might do it a little bit, but I've heard that it's basically Orta will bring in a list of players who suit the specifications of what he's asking for, and then he'll go, right, I like the look of this Daniel James kid. He looks like he's got what we need.
Yeah.
Go out and get him.
Yeah. And just try get him, and if that falls through, then don't bother.
Oh, Bielsa's a bit all or nothing, isn't he? In all aspects of his managerial career, he wants what he wants.
Definitely saw that he really was interested in Dan James, because the press conference where he revealed all the insight that he goes into managing teams about Spygate, there was a folder on his computer titled Dan James, Swansea.
Yeah.
So if that highlights just how much Bielsa wanted him.
Well, it proves it's also been a longer term thing than a couple of weeks. He's clearly wanted him for a while, because that was a few weeks ago now.
Yeah. Well, as you highlighted, a deal was agreed between Leeds United owner Riverside and the Swansea City owner. And James, he travelled up to Leeds. He had a medical, passed a medical. I can't imagine a medical is the nicest thing to go through as a footballer. And he agreed personal terms. And then Sky Sports, they actually filmed him walking into Ellen Road. And there were cameras there as well, so I think it was either we're getting a documentary made, or they were filming the reveal video for Leeds United. And so he went into Ellen Road and just waited there for 5 hours, only to be told that at 11 o'clock, Swansea pull the plug here, and it's just really, really annoying. Swansea City just embarrassing themselves, really. I mean, they let it go so late on. They didn't even pick up the phone and say, all right, we don't want this to go through. They just stopped replying to messages, both from Leeds United and Aston Villa. It's embarrassing.
No, it's a lack of class, is that. I mean, if a transfer is going to fall through and you don't want the player to leave, and it's, as the club selling the player, it's completely up to you to go. He's not for sale, but at least phone up and say you're not having him. Don't just let him sit there for hours and hours and hours. That's just disrespectful to the player and disrespectful to the club.
Dan James travelling up to Leeds, it's not a short journey, it's a very, very long journey. He's gone through all this, the medical, everything, agreeing terms, getting all filmed, even Leeds United staff as well. I feel sorry for them, and he's come up, 21-year-old Dan James thinks he's got his dream move to Leeds. He's a northern lad as well, he's got family up here, and he thinks he's got the move that he really wanted. He could be playing Premier League football next season if we get promoted, and then just to Swansea not even just to ring up and say, we don't want to do this, let's just stop replying to messages. It's just ridiculous. And for me, they've just let themselves down, Leeds United down, the player down, let everyone down, really.
I'd be surprised if I saw that he'd signed a new deal in the next few months, if I'm being honest. He's only got 18 months left on his contract. He might he might just think, I'm going to run this down until someone buys me. If he gets to the point where he's only got 12 months left, then people will come in with offers, and there'll be offers a lot lower than what we were offering. Yeah, they'll be offering 3 or 4 million once he's down to 12 months. Yeah,
I mean, it's a mistake from Swansea as well, because they could have got quite a lot from Leeds. Maybe not right away, but then in the summer when if we go up, which we do have a good chance of doing, then we buy him permanently. Swansea does just devalued James now as well, aren't they?
Yeah, people are not going to want to come in for Swansea's players if they don't believe they're going to get Swansea's players. It's all about transfer market is a lot about trust, for trust concerning managers, concerning players, concerning clubs. If you don't trust another club to deliver, or an ownership to part with their money, then you're not going to deal with them.
Yeah, definitely.
They're shooting themselves in the foot, really, doing stuff like this, because eventually people are going to go, well, we're not going to deal with you. We're going to go somewhere else.
But then also it may put people off from getting Dan James as well, because he, before a deal was agreed between the two clubs, he's come up to Leeds, said that he wants to join Leeds. And he wants to leave Swansea and agree everything. It puts him in kind of a bad light, really, to other clubs.
I want to say, and not personally, I don't think he would be looked upon personally badly by other clubs, because it's not his fault that Swansea have allowed this to collapse. Although if clubs misinterpret it and think that he's just pulled out of it last minute, they might be a bit more sceptical. But I can't see a lot of people thinking that, because all the evidence pointed to the fact that he wanted to come to Leeds, and his club just let him down.
Yeah, there's a big bridge to build now between Swansea and the players. Dan James and Levi Fair, who was going to go to Aston Villa, and then same happened there, just stopped replying to messages. Swansea just being ridiculous here. But there's big bridges to build between not only the players but the agents as well, because I think Dan James' agent came out the day after and said, yeah, not happy with Swansea.
Yeah, they do. Take that with a pinch of salt, though, because he's just lost a lot of money by his player not moving clubs. But we know what agents are like.
They'll take any money that I can get.
Yeah,
if they see an offer of them getting quite a lot of money, they'll do all they can to convince the player, you're moving, even though it may not be the right call.
They are greedy, ruthless kind of people at the best of times. We possibly should have had backup signings, maybe a couple of loan deals in the mill to fall back on if the James deal fell through. But you know what Bielsa's like; he's not gonna do stuff like that.
And James, it wasn't involved in Swansea's next game away at Bristol City. They did lose that 2-0, I believe. But yeah, it wasn't involved there. I mean, Swansea City fans thinking that James is just going to come back, do all he can, scores goals, get all of his assists and play well. But it's not going to be like that. He clearly wanted to leave and move to Leeds. It's not going to be like that. It is going to be hard for Swansea to build that relationship back up with James to really commit to Swansea for the rest of the season.
Well, he claimed in his hostage video, which I'm going to keep referring to it as, he claimed in that video that he didn't feel he'd prepared properly for the game, at the weekend, because he'd obviously been up and down from Wales to Yorkshire, and it's about 200 miles from Swansea to Leeds, so he didn't feel he was physically ready to play. I would. That's probably true, but I think also the mental factor would kick in, although he claimed there was no mental factor. But given how disappointed his agent said he was, I can't see there not being a kind of a mental block there, at least for a couple of weeks. I'd be interested to see if he was in the squad at the weekend. I expect him to be in their squad at the weekend, but not in the starting 11. He'll make the bench, I reckon. Yeah,
but it'll be just interesting to see how he plays. I mean, the future for him, I think we just went over this, his contract. He probably won't sign a new one. He probably will leave Swansea at the end of his contract. And can you see Leeds going back for him in the summer?
Honestly, no. I can't see that happening.
I mean, I think if we remain in the Championship, then we might do. But I think if we do get promoted to the Premier League, then I think definitely not.
Well, I think we can attract no disrespect, but I think we're going to attract a better, more experienced kind of player once we're in the Premier League. And I also think that Radrizzani and Victor Orta especially are quite emotional blokes. They are, obviously they're very professional when they get interviewed and stuff like that, but you've seen Orta, he gets a little bit, he's got angry with transfers in the past. I remember with Joseph from Derby, we were trying to sign him. Yeah. He wasn't from Derby at the time, he was from Brentford, but he went to Derby. And we were trying to sign him, and at the last minute he cancelled his medical and went to Derby, and Victor Orta apparently smashed a lot of mobile phones. So, you saw him in the stand when we equalised against Brentford, when I think he almost broke a seat, and he was bouncing around with Radrizzani in the stand. So they're quite emotional lads. Yeah. Which you like to see passion, but he doesn't seem like the kind of bloke that would take that kind of thing lightly. And I imagine he won't have a problem with Daniel James, but he'll have a problem with Swansea's ownership, all the people on their board. So I can't see he's going back in for him on that basis.
Yeah, never can. We've actually been linked with another winger, haven't we? Aaron Lennon. I don't know how true those reports are, but we've been linked with a move for Aaron Lennon in the summer. I don't think that's the kind of player we need if we do get promoted to the Premier League. I think someone a bit faster, maybe.
Oh, Aaron Lennon was ridiculously fast in his day, but he's
not a spring chicken anymore.
No, he's not. But he's experienced. He knows the league. He knows the league intimately, and he knows he's an out-and-out winger, and he can do a job.
Yeah, and he's Leeds as well.
Yeah, he's from Leeds, but he's only just signed for. Is it Everton or Burnley?
I think we're Burnley.
Is it Burnley?
Yeah.
He's only been there about 18 months, so and I imagine he'll sign more than a 2-year deal.
Yeah. Do you think we've missed out on Dan James big time, though? Final question on this. Do you think we missed out on him for the rest of the season? Do you think we'll miss that? If we did bring him in, do you think he would have made a big impact?
I mean, it's whataboutery and hypotheticals at this point, but it's always nice to have another option on the wing. It would have meant that we don't have to play Hernandez for as many games, because Pablo does get tired. The man's 33. He's playing professional football at it's a good level of the Championship. So, and we are short of proper wingers. We don't have many of them. Clark's arguably our only proper winger at the club.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say Harrison, but he's not quite as effective as going around players as Clark is.
Alioski's now moved to left back. I mean, definitely, could have done with him, and no doubt that he would have helped us on to try and get that promotion. We could have done with him on Saturday, though. Really disappointing last Saturday, wasn't it? I mean, Leeds United losing 3-1 against Norwich City, promotion rivals Norwich City. I mean, you build a game up so much hype going into it, and then that happens. Just disappointing.
Yeah, we were actually pretty good in the first half, which is why it annoyed me so much. We were 2-0 down.
Do you think? I don't think we were.
We the first kind of 20 minutes or so, we created so many chances we didn't score. So many that went just off target or.
I don't think we were.
Straight at Krul. There were a lot of shots that were straight at Krul.
Yeah, a lot of shots from outside the box, and none of them really troubling Krul at all. Krul had a very good game, by the way, but yeah, I don't agree that we were better. A lot of people saying that we were the better team in the first half. I don't think so.
They literally barely had the ball in the first half, and they.
Yeah, but Norwich, they came down the road. They stuck to the game plan. And when they did go forward, they looked threatening every single time. Every single time they went forward, they looked like they were going to score. They were playing really nice one-touch football, and they took their chances.
Because the reason for that is because we had a lack of energy in the midfield. Forshaw was so constantly out of position that it was easy for people like Tom Tribal and Mario Vrancic just to go on 30-yard runs into the middle of our half without getting challenged. Click was leggy, and although he had a decent-ish first half, he wasn't closing down the midfielders quick enough. So they were just coming through our midfield too easily, and that meant they spent far too much time on the edge of our box, which ended up in the opening 5 minutes to Janssen needlessly tripping up Vrancic, which he didn't need to do. He should have just shielded him out. But
yeah,
it was a good strike, to be fair. But also, Forshaw turning his back in the wall is a bottle job move. I would like that on record. It is a bottle job move, turning your back in a wall.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get onto the goals in a second, but for me, going on to the first half, a lot of people saying we were better first half. I mean, we kept all the possession, yeah, but we didn't do anything with it. We had a load of shots marked in the box, hopeless shots. We only had about one good effort, I think, and that was Harrison really early on in the half. I remember Roof, as soon as we went 2-0 down, Roof, straight up from the kick-off, ran straight through their defence.
Alioski had that volley that went just wide.
Yeah, and that's about it, really. We had over possession, created barely anything. That's my opinion. I personally don't think we were good throughout this entire game.
If Roof had scored that goal just after that we conceded our second, that would have been one of the goals of the season. He just ran through their team.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talking points there that could have changed the game, but we'll start with the lineup though. So Bielsa, of course, naming this lineup 2 days before the actual game, and third time he's done it this season. He did it against QPR, did it I think against Stoke, and then did it for this game against Norwich. Third time he's done it, third time we've lost. Do you think that Bielsa needs to stop giving his full starting 11?
We play the same lineup every week anyway, so I don't think it has that much of an impact. Especially the last 3 or 4 weeks, all Farker has to do is look the line up against Rotherham, the line up against Stoke, the line up against not that much the line up against QPR, but those last few games, and he'll see at Forest as well that we play the same lineup near enough every week, obviously with the exceptions of injuries, but. He'd find out injuries in the press conference with Farco anyway, regardless of whether Bielsa releases lineup. So I don't think it has any effect.
Yeah, well, I personally think, I mean, the proof's there. He's given it out 3 times, lost all 3 times. I think that he just does need to stop and give it out just an hour before kick-off. That's my personal opinion. I mean, it does make it easy for us journalists though when he gets to tweeting it out and all that, because we can save it in advance. But yeah, for me, it needs to stop doing that. But I mean, the lineup. I mean. A lot of things in there which I would have changed. Phillips should have been in there for Forshaw, and then a big boost though when the lineup came out though, because I think it was the Leeds United 23's game early on that day. Bamford wasn't involved, so I think everyone got a big boost. Like, Bamford's going to be involved against Norwich, isn't he?
I actually thought he'd be injured.
Did you think?
I did. I thought he wasn't in the 23's lineup or on the bench because he re-injured himself.
Well, Bielsa didn't state that in the press conference. I was thinking, well,
true.
If Bamford's going to be injured, unless he picked up a knock, but nothing had been released by Leeds United. Phil Hay hadn't tweeted anything. And yeah, he was pictured on the pitch, and Bamford back, and Barry Douglas back as well. Big boost for Leeds United.
Yeah, Bamford came on for 15 minutes and scored. I mean, I saw a stat that said that Bamford's played 110 minutes in a Leeds shirt this season, and he scored twice. So that's 15 55 minutes per goal. It's probably one of the best conversion rates in the Championship for minutes on the pitch. But he's big. He's a clinical finisher. He's got a good strike on him. There's a reason he was our marquee signing for the summer transfer window, is because he's a good striker in this league. He's a very good striker in this league. I would actually like to see him in a front two with Roof, but I don't think that will happen. But I can see wholesale changes, to be honest, against Borough. I actually reckon Bamford will start. As for Douglas, he played poorly in the Norwich game. He's played poorly for a few weeks now, and that's not me calling him out or any kind of grudge against him, but he came on as a sub in the game and he was just not effective.
No. I mean, a big boost though to have these players back. Definitely.
That's not players fit, yeah.
Yeah, and Patrick Bamford, he ended up being the only highlight of this game, but we'll get into the game properly soon. But the bench for this game looking really, really strong. We had Calvin Phillips. Of course, Bamford, Douglas, but Jack Clark on the bench as well. You know, you're looking at the bench thinking, all right, we do actually have players here who can come on and make an impact, which you haven't had for the past few weeks. At
2:00 in the afternoon, I was incredibly optimistic. I was slightly less so at 5.
2:00?
Well,
4:30.
4:30. Yeah. Sorry, it was a late kick-off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I should know. I was actually at the game.
Yeah, come on, Charles.
Yeah, later on. Sorry, 4:30. But yeah, I was actually optimistic about it. It's nice to have more experienced players on the bench. I'd like to see Jack Clark on the bench. I didn't think he was kind of like he was moderately effective. I think when he came on, he sort of gave their fullbacks something to think about when we attacked, and he got into the box a couple of times, but they just defended very well.
Yeah.
I remember one time he got the ball straight across the face of goal, but it was hooked off the line, I think, by I think it was Max Irons who booted it off the line. But yeah, he had a decent game. He probably had a 6.5 out of 10, which is one of the higher marks out of the team, to be honest.
I mean, like you, I was fairly optimistic looking at the not just for lineup but the bench as well. I was fairly optimistic, and knowing that Jack Clark, he could come on and make a big difference, I was like, yeah, it could be going good, but it was nothing like that. First half, we said it. You said we were better side. I don't think we were at all. We had a possession, but didn't create anything. Norwich came, stuck to the game plan, took the chances. Of course, one of the chances did come in the first 5 minutes. Pontus Janssen, needless challenge, really. Definitely was a foul, but it didn't need to make it. I think Cooper was there to cover.
There was 2 or 3 defenders around him. At that point, you just shepherd him back or out wide, or stop him from turning round if he's trying to feed back to players, and you just eventually you'll win the ball back. There's no danger there. Yeah. But as I say, that's because the screening midfielder didn't stop him running that far up the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Buendia is a very good player, and he was. I think it was Vrancic who got fouled, but Buendia was nearby and Andes was hovering nearby, and they were looking for options. And maybe if Pontus hadn't fouled him, they'd have scored anyway. We don't know. But opening 5 minutes to give a free kick away 25 yards from goal
in that position,
in the centre of the box is bad. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, very good position I was in, and you take your hats off for that free kick. It was well struck, foreshore, coming out, getting deflection. I don't think it would have mattered. I think Vrancic, he struck it well.
He'd have buried it anyway.
Yeah, I think he was always going in. Casilla were nowhere near it as well, and it's not like Casilla's like 7 foot tall and can reach anything.
I don't think you can blame him. That's far enough in the corner for
me.
No,
I'm not blaming him. Yeah. I'm just saying, it looked like he was nowhere near, but free kick was struck well. Of course, I won the up after 5 minutes. Not good at all. I mean, we didn't look fazed by it, But that's my problem, though. We never looked fazed. I mean, even in the second half when we were 2-0 down, we're just playing like we were 2-0 up, but we'll get onto that. But quite a lot of talking points in this match. I think the big one was Tim Krul. He maybe should have been sent off.
I think he should be sent off. Roberts was in on goal. I think it was a good ball off Alioski.
Hernandez launched the ball forward. Dropped nicely for Roberts. He chipped it over Tim Krul, and then Tim Krul came out and just caught him really badly on the follow through.
Yeah, it wasn't even a decent challenge. He just clattered him.
Yeah.
How he got away with the yellow card. There was no defender within 10 yards of Roberts for me. If Krul hadn't have rushed out, Roberts was in on goal.
Yeah, goal scoring opportunity.
Stopping a goal scoring opportunity, by the letter of the law, is a red card.
Do you think, though, if Roberts didn't get the shot off, though, then it would have been a red card? Because he did get the shot from the end.
No, the referee never looked like he was going to give a red. He always looked like he was going to give out a yellow. You can always tell with referees when they're about to give out a red because they look really pleased with themselves and really. I mean, I'm not trying to slag off all referees here, but they do get kind of power hungry. The Mike Deans of this world love giving out red cards in a look at me and the big man routine. But yeah, it never looked like it was going to be a red.
But definitely it was though. He came out just absolutely clattered him.
It was a red. It was a red though. Yeah.
Yeah. Referee, he really had a poor game. This game let a lot of stuff go, which was really annoying. Norwich were putting in all kinds of challenges.
Roberts again should have had a penalty because he got tripped up when he was running in.
Yep, that was the next big thing. Yeah, Roberts on the edge of a penalty. Yeah, you're right, the corner. Someone just came up behind him and just pushed him over.
Just pushed him straight over.
Literally just ran up behind him and just pushed him over. Referee's right in front of him.
It happened a few times. Roof got shoved over a couple of times as well, and Roof got blocked off, which you're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, the biggest thing that annoyed me in the game was Ayling's disallowed goal.
Yeah. Was that after we'd gone 2-0 down or before?
It was at 2-0. He scored it.
Yeah. Well, let's go on to the second goal first of all. I mean, this second goal, it's hard to explain in the stadium, there's quite a lot of noise, and then as soon as they score, it's just turned to silent. I don't even think, I don't think people could believe that the goal had actually gone in and been allowed because Pookie looked a mile offside, even though he wasn't offside. I don't even think Norwich fans realised it had gone in.
The Norwich fans didn't celebrate for about 10 seconds because they were looking for the offside flag.
Linesmen were running back to centre circle, and I was like, that's a goal, isn't it?
For me, it was a bit weird because I think there was an announcement going on at the time, and then nobody looked like they were concentrating. Even Norwich or Leeds, they weren't really concentrating. And then Janssen dived in about 5 seconds too early, and so then
deflection just fell right to Pookie.
It happened a lot in the game. Norwich got a lot of kind. I'm not saying that just to be salty or to moan because that's not the reason they won. They played well. They deserved it. They won, but. They had a lot of kind deflections where the ball just fell straight to the right player at the right time in the right position, and this was the biggest one because it just flew off Janssen's ankle, and I think Casiri had already dived because it was obviously the shot was going.
Casiri was in no man's land, didn't he?
Well, he dived because he thought the shot was coming through. He didn't realise that Janssen was going to block it, and then it just fell straight to Pookie's feet about 8 or 9 yards from goal. It's just a tap in, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a tap in. But Forshaw here, though, losing it in midfield.
He does it a lot.
What's he doing? What is Forshaw doing here? He thinks he has all the time in the world on the ball. He doesn't. He's in a dangerous area. Just get rid of it. Don't mess about. And he trips over the ball, loses it, and then they go on to score. But Forshaw here, he's the cause of this.
Forrest, he caused the goal. Stoke, he was actually responsible for first goal. It costs us a lot of points.
Yeah.
I think he's a bit of a passenger in this team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's ever offered enough to justify his selection over Calvin Phillips in the DM role.
Yeah, and I think we were saying last week, he probably needs to be further forward. I don't think he's that type of player to having that such an important role, and we really did need Calvin Phillips. We kind of missed him. Do you feel as though that we kind of need two players in holding midfield? Because I always feel as though our midfield is just non-existent at times.
The problem with playing Bielsa's style of play is that all the midfielders kind of go to one side of the pitch or the other and they push really far forward. So if you put a decent through ball through or whip a decent ball forward, they're or out wide, you've got a chance of getting caught out. It doesn't happen very often, but getting counter-attacks is part of the game when you play the style of play that Bielsa does. But I don't think we should play two holding midfielders because I think we at the moment we've been playing too deep anyway, and two holding midfielders aren't going to help us.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? We're playing too deep. I mean, at the start of the season, we're playing really nice football, pressing really high. Now we're just sitting really deep and just launching long balls forward.
Only one player presses at a time. Notice that now.
Yeah.
The defence never come out the middle of our half. The midfield rarely go over the halfway line.
Playing the same football as pretty much every other championship team.
Launching the ball to Roof, and we lose it. And that's what happened against Stoke. It's what happened for the first half against Rotherham. It's what happened in this game, really. We didn't push far forward this game. Click was always hovering around the halfway line. You need to be pushing on. You need to be having a go. Yeah. You can't play this style of play, passing between each other, if you're going to stay behind the halfway line, because people just catch you out. And it happened in the Norwich game. About 20 times I saw Tom Tribal or Mario Vrancic or in the last stage of the game Alex Tete just nick the ball off Roof or nick the ball off Click or nick the ball off Forshaw in particular, and then they'd be in immediately, rushing forward. Wings would come forward, they'd be in, and we'd either concede a corner or a goal or a free kick or something stupid we didn't need to concede.
Yeah, I just don't understand what's happened to our style of play. Then, of course, we did go 2-0 down. Roof, as we mentioned, really good chance, running straight through the defence, almost scored. But then, of course, we disallowed goal as well. I don't see why he disallowed this.
It was foul and Krul was the reason for it. But for me,
Krul came out and Jansen's got his back to him. He's trying to win the ball with a header. It's not like he's purposely gone into him.
No, the goal should have stood. You're allowed to challenge keepers in the air for the ball.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like there was any hands in the back. There was no pushing. There was no shoving. There was no kicking Krul at all. Everyone jumped up. Krul failed to reach the ball because Jansen was... I mean, you could argue say that Jansen was blocking him a little bit, but Krul failed to reach the ball. It fell to Ayling about 10-ish yards out, and he lashed it in. Yeah. And we all... I won't say we all thought we scored, because I expected it to be given as a foul, to be honest. Not initially. Of course, you're happy you score, but then you think, oh, maybe that was a bit dodgy. And, you know, referees are like in this league, they're awful. Yeah. But, yeah, that was... I reckon if you score when you're only 2-0 down, because we scored when we were 3-0 down, it's far too late then. But if we'd have scored then, early in the second half, we could have possibly pushed on and got a point, but we'll never know, will we? Yeah,
I mean, I think we're just trying to pick at anything that we can, really. But I mean, definitely, if Krul got sent off at 1-0 down, if Ayling's goal stood when we're 2-0 down, it would have been a different game completely.
Fine margins.
But the second half, just no excuses, just shambolic. It was awful.
Yeah, what was expected was that we would come out and we'd realise that we're in deep trouble there and that we need to bring up a good performance. And what happened was heads would dropped a little bit. We would, for some reason, we were dropping even deeper rather than going forward. We were just getting caught out all the time.
It was like we were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
We were passing around the back like we were 2-0 up, and then we were in comfortable position when we were.
It was casual. There was no penetration, and then Roof lost his head eventually, and was. I won't say he was fortunate to stay on the pitch because he didn't do anything, but I don't imagine he was far off nussing Tim Krul at one point, and it was only really because him, Cooper, and the referee had a word at one point because Roof had almost got his second booking for. Because he got booked for a foul, and then he almost got a second one for dissent. Because you could hear him, you could see him mouth the F word at the referee. I saw it when the referee was just giving the throw-ins random. It was like he was flipping a coin as to whose turn it was to take a throw-in. It was ridiculous. So he was getting frustrated at that. He was frustrated that he was getting fouled a lot. I mean, as a striker, you do get fouled a lot. Look at Zaha; he gets fouled all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was just poor in the second half.
Yeah, and that was really frustrating to watch. What do you make of his two substitutions at half time? Of course, Jack Harrison, he went off for Jack Clark, and then Pablo Hernandez, he came off for Barry Douglas. Barry Douglas went to left back. Alioski moved further forward. What do you make of that? Because for me, I think it was so clear how much we lacked creativity going forward when Hernandez went off.
It was, but he wasn't playing well. He was giving the ball away a lot. He was making poor passes. Yeah, he had his usual moments of brilliance, which he just come up with, like the ball through to Roberts and that. But a lot of the time, he was just losing the ball. And I actually didn't think Harrison was playing that poorly either.
He's one-dimensional, Jack Harrison. All he has is a left foot for me.
Yeah, that does get really annoying when he runs down the right and defenders are already piling up on his left foot because they know he's never going to hit it through on his right.
Yeah,
and it's just really annoying.
Yeah.
Just like have a go.
I mean, for me, with the wingers, Alioski's better on the right and Jack Harrison's better on the left.
Yeah, mainly because he can run around the outside then.
Yeah. And Alioski's really good at cutting in and getting a strike on goal with his left.
Yeah, he is, but he also gets caught out from time to time again.
Yeah.
But I understand that obviously 2-0 down, drastic measures needed, substitutions at half time. I told you during the game, didn't I, that I expected changes at half time, and they came. It wasn't a change I was expecting. I was hoping that Calvin Phillips was going to come on.
Yeah, I think everyone around us was saying Calvin Phillips needs to come on because Forshaw's having a very poor game when we're missing Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, and we were talking about Bamford, and you were saying, oh, he's just come back from injury and he won't get brought on at half time, and you were right. He got brought on at about 77, 78 minutes.
I think it was early 60 minutes.
No, I'm sure. I have to check that. I'm sure it was later than that.
Yeah, 60 odd.
Right, check it.
Live check in the studio.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Patrick Bamford, he came on to the 63rd minute.
Oh, fair enough. I thought it came on later than that, but
No, 63rd.
it seemed like it. It didn't seem like he was on the pitch that long. Maybe it's just because we were all just waiting to leave because the game had been lost by then. But
I mean, yeah, very, very hard to affect a game. One for an 18-year-old to come on and affect a game in Jack Clark when you 2-0 down. Then Bamford, who's playing he's just come back from injury again to affect the game as well. We touched on it though. Barry Douglas, he had a very poor game. I left back when he came on at half time, but yeah, for me, Phillips should have come on at half time. But yeah, second half were just like there's no excuses for that.
No, heads had dropped by then.
But Patrick Bamford being the only highlight of the game when we went 3-0 down. Their third goal, I mean, it goes through Casillas' legs. I mean, it was just poor one to concede, really disappointed to concede. It's
poor goalkeeping, but it's poor defending as well. No one closed him down. He got the shot off easily. I mean, it did take at least one deflection, maybe even two. Yeah. It looked like it took two for me, the goal.
And Franchik scores, and it's 3-0. And it's pretty much game over because there was only like 10-12 minutes left, so pretty much game over. We do get a consolation, though, which could be massive. With Patrick Bamford, it was Barry Douglas corner, Patrick Bamford header getting into the back of the net. 3-1, but that goal could be massive at the end of the season.
Yeah, goal difference is always important. I mean, it only leaves us 2 behind them now when we could have been 3.
Yeah.
It's not insurmountable.
These fans didn't know the maths, singing we're top of the league.
Yeah, I pointed that out to you in the stadium, didn't I? I said we're not top because if they won by a single goal margin, they went above us. Yeah, but it didn't look like anyone was marking him for the corner. So I think Norwich weren't really bothered because they'd already won the game. Yeah. He had a free header, but and not to kind of discredit him because it was a good finish. It was flicked off his head, and it went straight past Krul. Yeah. Who seemed to be annoyed at losing his clean sheet bonus at the end of the game.
Yeah, it went up to headbutt Patrick Bamford, didn't he?
He planted his head on him. Yeah. That did happen. I'd be annoyed if we got a ban for that, but we would get a ban for that. That's
we would get a ban, and the EFL, they've already come out and just dismissed it, which is really, really annoying.
Krul claimed that Bamford had started on Ben Godfrey. I don't know what the kind of context of that was. I know it's obviously centre back and striker. You're always kind of a bit on edge with each other, but yeah, there was a few words said. It was Ben Godfrey were there, and there was another guy there. I'm not sure. I couldn't see who it was. We were quite far away, and then Krul came charging over, plants his head on Bamford, and just shouts in his face, and nothing happens. I'd be lying if I had said I didn't say to you in the stadium that Bamford should have definitely just knocked him out straight there and then. It's what the rest of us felt like doing, but maybe that was just the emotions running high.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't advocate violence in football, by the way. Yeah. just emotions running high.
Yeah, but definitely. I mean, Patrick Bamford coming back from injury and scoring again. Big highlight for me. Patrick Bamford, he starts for next game because we've had a very poor game here. For me, Patrick Bamford starts going forward.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's got it in his legs to do 90 minutes, but I don't think he'd do 90 minutes anyway. He'd probably do 60 and then Roof would get the last 30. But I expect him to start against Middlesbrough. I think Bielsa will go with rapid changes for this.
Yeah,
Phillips will start, Bamford will start, I'm betting you. And
yeah, we'll get onto our team lineups when we preview.
I do apologise
when we preview Middlesbrough. But yeah, of course, I finished 3-1, consolation goal. I'll take it. But really disappointing though. Losing out against promotion rivals Norwich. We dropped down to second. They go above us on goal difference. Joint top. Chance
to go 6 points clear as well.
Yeah, chance to go 6 points clear at the top. Just wasted. Now we're 3 points clear again of third place. Sheffield United. Yeah, just really disappointing, but I just don't want to dwell on that. I've just got over it, and now we've been talking about it again. I've just got even more depressed.
We're all dead inside after that.
Yeah, just really bad. But moving on to the under-23s, though, much better week for them. 2-2 draw away at Birmingham last Saturday. It was at the Birmingham City training ground, if you really want to know the ins and outs. Izzy Brown getting on the score sheet again, a 96th minute equaliser. So yeah, he obviously going to fit right in with these last minute important goals.
Yeah, he scored off a free kick just in the last minute. I imagine Leeds have been throwing men forward and they just won it and he scored it. But yeah, he's. I think that's what is that 3? Is that 4 goals in 3 games now for him? He's definitely scored 3 or 4 in the last few games.
It seems to be scoring all the time for you in 23s.
Yeah, my mate is a Donny fan. He's basically saying, "Are you just cheating having Izzy Brown in the under 23s?" It's like, it's not cheating. He's under the age of 23. It's like, just because he's better than most of the players, and he's good enough to be in the first team. But yeah, the under 23s had a good week. He had a good week. Rob Price is basically saying that he's perfectly fit now. It's up to him to impress Bielsa. So that would imply that he.
But surely he's impressing Bielsa when he's scoring all the time for him in 23s.
Yeah, but Bielsa wants him perfectly match fit in perfect condition, and which will take another 3 or 4 games. The expected return for him would be Bolton at home, I think.
Yeah, but for me, he's rushed Bamford back, he's rushed Douglas back, he rushed Ayling back, and yeah, for me, he should rush Izzy Brown back because he's obviously doing very well for your N23s. Just can't be long until he's back in that first team.
We do need him at least on the bench as an option to bring on, but yeah, it'd be nice to see him back soon because we need a bit of a creative spark.
Yeah, I would love to see him involved in the Middlesbrough game on Saturday, or at least by the Swansea game. I think if it comes to Swansea next week, I think he should be involved at some point. If of course he doesn't get injured this week.
We must be due one by now.
But yeah, definitely Izzy Brown, very very good, very big highlight there in the Under-23s to watch out for, and hopefully he is involved in the first team soon. But going on to the Middlesbrough game this Saturday, of course, Leeds United away at Riverside. Charles, this is a big game, but I guess every game for us now is just absolutely massive. People saying we've got 16 cup finals left.
Yeah, I think Sheffield United have got Aston Villa away, so that's a tough game. And Norwich have got the East Anglian derby, so that even though Ipswich are bottom, that's always a tough game for them. Yeah,
East Anglian derby, you never know what's going to happen in that's their only derby, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think Norwich will comfortably beat Ipswich, but Sheffield United may not beat Aston Villa, especially given it's at Villa Park, so it could be a chance to go a few more points clear of third, which is obviously the main goal. But yeah, the people spending an afternoon in Middlesbrough, you have my commiserations. I hope you come on with 3 points. I'm not going to the game because we struggle to get tickets, and
it's not even on TV as well. 1 o'clock kick-off on Saturday. It's not even on TV.
I'm gonna have to watch it on a stream with my dad, yeah, as I always do when we're not at a game. There's not on TV. I am looking forward to it. It is a must win.
Yeah, we definitely do need to win, especially after Norwich loss. So if you want to know the teams around us, Norwich, of course, at East Anglian derby on Sunday. West Brom away at Stoke on the Saturday evening, so that'll be on TV. Definitely be watching that. Aston Villa, Sheffield United this Friday. And then, of course, we're away at Middlesbrough. Some tough games, really, for the teams around us. Hopefully, a few of them drop points. It could be that weekend where we get a really good result, a big result, and then other teams drop points.
Yeah, it's Villa's opportunity to jump into the playoffs as well, so they'll want to beat Sheffield United, so that could come up handy for us. But yeah, it's always nice. I'd rather not rely on other teams to be dropping points. I want us to pick up 3 points and then have a nice little look down the run of results and see if anyone's done us any favours. I don't like dropping points needlessly and having to go, oh, at least they've lost, at least they've drawn. It's not a nice feeling, is it?
No.
You always like to look at thinking, right, we've got 3 points. Who's done us a favour this week? Scroll down the results.
It is in our hands, and you like to keep it in your hand as well. But what can you see happening here? It's gonna be a very tough game, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see this being a draw, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think they don't score many goals. They don't concede many goals, though. They're pretty negative. We are not creating much at the moment. We're on bad form. They're on good. They've had a good result in the last game, but
yeah, they're on okay form. Yeah, really good result in the last championship game.
Did us a favour as well.
Yeah, 3-2 win away at West Brom. Unbeaten in the last 5 championship games. That's seen them go to 5th in the playoffs and on 50 points, so just 7 behind us. In the last game, though, they did lose away at Newport
2-0
on Tuesday night. Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, 2-0 away at Newport. So I mean, a bad loss there, and they did play 6 first teamers, didn't they? So, yeah. A bad result there for them. And could tiredness play a factor now? I mean, go to Newport from Middlesbrough is a long, long trip for midweek, and we've had a week's rest. I know that you were saying before, off air where you were saying, yeah, we had a week's rest last week, but so did Norwich. But Middlesbrough, they've had to go down to Newport midweek. So could tiredness be a factor in this game?
I don't think it'll play as much of a factor as the fact that Clayton and Bezic and people like and Gestead have annoyed their fans at Newport by not caring that much. The fact they've dropped out of the cup when they had a chance to go to play Man City. Their fans will be on their backs, I imagine, especially if we get an early goal or we look threatening early. There's a lot of discontent at Middlesbrough Football Club at the moment. They are in the playoffs. They are where they probably would. I think they would expect to be in the top two, but they're in the playoffs. They're not. I don't think they're in the top two race, but they're definitely not out of the playoff race whatsoever. They're comfortably in the playoffs. But that and tiredness could all play a factor. Mind you, we're not the most happy fans at the moment because we've lost 5 of the last 7. But we should go there and think these lot aren't amazing. They've dropped a lot of points, particularly at home.
Yeah, they've got really poor home form. I mean, the last loss in the Championship was a 1-0 loss at home against Sheffield Wednesday, so not good home record at all this season. Yeah,
Wednesday are not very good, or they weren't very good up until recently, purely because they had a bad manager and they've had a lot of injuries as well. But anyway, enough about Wednesday. But Borough will prove a tough challenge because we know what Pulis is about. It came to Ellen Road in August, and it was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen.
Yeah, boring, drab, 0-0.
It was dreadful, and they did exactly what we expected them to do: launch balls up to their giants. They've got and long throws and set pieces and things like that, and it was just dull. And of course, everyone's favourite footballer on the planet, Daniel Ayala, will be returning, and we'll see him again.
But I guess their poor home form, we could look at that, and that could boost us. And also, if their home fans, get on their backs really quickly, then that could play in our hands, because I think it plays into quite a lot of teams' hands when they come to Ellen Road, because Leeds fans are quick to get on the team's back because we demand very, very high success, which we shouldn't really apologise for. But yeah, I do think it could play a factor if their fans turn their back.
I wouldn't say we demand success. The minimum I would demand is show your quality and show your effort. If you play to the absolute maximum you are able to as a footballer, even if you're not that good, you're not going to get stick off Leeds fans.
Do you not agree though that we do get on the backs quite quickly?
Not quickly. No, I wouldn't honestly say that, because no one minds players making the odd mistake, and Hernandez makes the odd mistake. No one really gets on his back. But it's when, like in the Norwich game, where Ayling lost the ball about 3 times in about 5 minutes, and the third time fans were getting angry at him because he just picked up the ball and would pass it to a Norwich player or turn round and lose it, and they'd be in then. And it's not. I wouldn't say we demand success or we demand everything to be perfect, because we don't. We recognise the Championship players, they make mistakes. But if you're making repeated mistakes and you're letting the team down, you're showing a lack of effort, or just the fact you don't care, that's not acceptable. You're on thousands and thousands of pounds a week. You've got fans that if you play well, they'll love you. It's absolutely no excuse for not keeping your head up in a game, staying in a game, and trying to create something, or trying to play to the best of your ability. Middlesbrough fans, I imagine, want the same thing. Of course, their standard of play they witness is a lot worse, but they want their players to be winning headers, they want winning second balls, they want things like that. And if they're not doing that, if the players look jaded or like they don't care, they're going to get on the backs.
Yeah, it definitely will be interesting though. And hopefully Leeds United can do the job and pick up a win. I mean, it's very important that we do win, of course, joint top, but Norwich ahead on goal difference. It's very important that we do pick up the 3 points. What would you change in the lineup? Touching it throughout this podcast, but the lineup, for me, Phillips back in defensive midfield ahead of Forshaw. For me, Ayling had a very, very poor game against Norwich. So Shackleton goes in at right back. I mean, I thought it was really unfair to drop Shackleton at the time. Ayling come back from injury just straight into that team lineup against Aston Villa. Didn't really play too well. Shackleton was on the form of his life back then. So, yeah.
It didn't feel like he'd got into the lineup on merit. It felt like he got into the lineup because he's in quotation marks, a first team player.
Yeah, just because he's Luke Ayling. He come with the big name. For me, Shackleton was just so much better. And yeah, for me, Shackleton goes in ahead of Ayling. As on the wings, I feel as though Hernandez, a lot of people saying he's better on the wing. I felt it was really, really slow and lethargic. So for me, he goes as a number 10. That's me personally, and gets that freedom in the middle. Tyler Roberts stays in, Tyler Roberts, very, very good game against Norwich. Very, very impressive.
Would you put Roberts out wide then?
I'd keep Roberts in number 10. He was very, very good against Norwich. Really, really.
You can't play Hernandez and Roberts in the number 10, can you? You got to pick
you
one.
can.
You can have 2 number 10s, mate.
That's what we play.
No, we don't play 2 number 10s. We play
holding midfield and 2 midfielders in front of him.
Yeah, so you dropping Klitsch then?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I dropped Klitsch.
Misunderstood you there, but all right. I'll take that.
Well, you do play 2 attacking midfielders.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say the Klic role is an attacking midfield role. It's more like a linking role between the defence and the attack. But, yeah. I'd keep Robertson as well. I thought he played well. He faded in the game though. He started off very brightly, and as the game went on,
it was just the second half. But everyone was part of the second half.
Yeah, he does that a bit though. He does fade a bit, but we can always sub him off in the game if he's. We could stick Matej's Klic back on. There's no problem with that.
Definitely for me, Tyler Roberts stays in the team. Very, very impressive on the wings. I mean, for me, Douglas goes back at left back because it's Barry Douglas, and Alioski gets dropped to give him, just to kick up the backside, saying, you haven't played well the past few games.
Well, Douglas hasn't played well the last few times he's played either.
No, well, it was his first game back for last game, just back from injury. I think he should be more fresh for this game. And then on the wings, I think Jack Clark starts on the right, and then probably Jack Harrison on the left, and then Bamford up front. That's me personally. What about you?
I'd probably say similar, but you don't really like starting Jack Clark, do you? Not you personally. Anyone? It's not.
But anything to get Jack Harrison on that left hand side and someone else on the right.
Yeah.
And anything for Alioski to not start because he's been very, very poor.
Yeah.
Very, very poor against Norwich.
I suppose. I'd probably go for something similar. The main thing though is that Phillips returns to the defensive midfield role. Yeah. The rest of the changes I could live without. Yeah. I mean, I'd
Bamford, do you think he goes in?
Yeah, he does, but that's not as crucial as Phillips in the defensive midfield.
Phillips needs to be in that defensive midfield role. Forshaw needs dropping.
Wouldn't be a nightmare if Roof started the game and Bamford came on. That wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah,
it is the end of the world if Forshaw starts in the DM role again after about 6 terrible performances in a row. Yeah, definitely. With the exception of the Derby game, because he was good in the Derby game, but that's mainly because they were just poor.
For you, Shackleton at right back as well.
Yeah, there are downsides to Shackleton's game though. He does drift too far forward. He's not very tall, so he doesn't win headers. So, and against Middlesbrough, winning headers is a big factor. We saw at Ellen Road, they won a lot of headers, and arguably they should have had some penalties the amount of times we were dragging him over. Yeah. Mind you, we should have a couple of penalty shots as well, so it probably evened its way out. Either of us not getting one. But yeah, it's the kind of game you'd like Gaetano Berardi to be playing in, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
a bit of passion, bit of get
definitely.
Up and go, bit of endeavour. But yeah, I'd like to see Shackleton at right back because he puts some of the balls Alien puts in the box are awful. Whereas Shackleton's balls, as innuendo as that is, the balls that Shackleton puts in the box are usually quite good.
Yeah.
Although Jack Clark likes his fizzing kind of grass cutter balls. Shackleton likes whipping the aerial ones. Ed shaking his head for the people who are listening at my unintentional innuendos.
Pablo Hernandez for you, wing or in the middle?
I like him on the wing. I do.
I don't like him on the wing at all.
No, I like him on the wing because I sometimes think he just gets crowded in the attacking midfield role.
Yeah.
He just people because he's not. You need someone who's energetic in that role. I like Roberts in the number 10 role because he's drifting about, he's picking the ball up. He's
very good against Norwich as well. So I don't think he's can drop him now.
He's got tricks and turns. Admittedly, so does Hernandez, but Hernandez needs the space. He's not got the legs for it, so the space to look up, receive the ball, find that, whip that ball in, find the pass, because he'll have a couple of seconds when he's out wide. You don't have a couple of seconds at number 10. You pick up the ball and there's someone in your face immediately.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Left back, I mean, if Alioski has to play, then he has to play because Barry Douglas may not be, fully 100% to start this game. But yeah, we shall see. But definitely Phillips in defensive midfield for sure. Definitely Shackleton in for Ayling at right back, unless Bielsa does think that height is going to be a factor. And definitely for me, Bamford up front for Roof. That's just my personal opinion. Predictions. Finally, how do you see this one playing out?
1-1.
1-1. Yeah. It's hard not to disagree with 1-1, but I never go against Leeds. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds.
I can't see scoring 2 goals at their place, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we win, it'll be 1-0.
Yeah. Yeah. If we do win, it's going to be 1-0. Yeah. Yeah. For me, I can never go against Leeds. So I can see Middlesbrough scoring. I'll go 2-1, but 1-1, I can definitely see that happening. It's hard to disagree with you. That brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in. As always, downloading, very muchly appreciate it. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That'd be very helpful. Share the podcast as well. Try and get this one out there. Charles, thank you as always for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week where we do invite Kev or Leeds United Maz onto the podcast. Very much looking forward to that one. Then the week after we will be welcoming Andrew Stats-Dalton onto the podcast. Hopefully everything goes well, but that's the plan at the moment. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for listening. Follow All Things Leeds across all of our social media pages. Subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. And yeah, until next time, have a good one, and we'll see you later.